The drug fentanyl was created almost 60 years ago as a painkiller, and there's no doubt it works. It's 50 times stronger than heroin. But as well as being dangerously potent, it's also highly addictive, which has now transformed it from painkiller to plain killer. In the United States, a national emergency has been declared because of an epidemic of fatal fentanyl overdoses, deaths which include entertainment icons Prince and Tom Petty. And it's the ease of the access to the drug there and here which is responsible. Addicts don't need to meet a dodgy dealer in an alleyway to get a hit. Rather, they simply make an appointment with their local GP and ask for a prescription. Simon Stoddart is doing something he shouldn't. In fact, no one should be able to.
Is it possible to see a doctor? Sure. As soon as possible.
It's doctor shopping, and it's easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The drug he and so many across Australia are after is the highly addictive painkiller, fentanyl. And doctors know just how dangerous it can be.
I think there was a recent story about a bodybuilder in Gold Coast who put on fentanyl fat and then he went into a coma and didn't wake up. Yeah.
But invariably, they'll hand you a script for the drug anyway.
Fentanyl patch.
As Simon is finding out, quick scripts for opioids are the norm, not the exception.
It's that simple to go from doctor to doctor and get this. I could easily kill myself with the amount I've got already.
Simon is doing this for good reason though. His mate Angus overdosed on fentanyl prescribed by a doctor. A death he believes would never have happened if doctors did their job properly. He wants them to stop giving the drug out so easily. This is something that you feel pretty strongly about.
Very, very close to my heart. Angus is a good mate of mine. He died from fentanyl patches. These things are supposed to be safe. And now he goes to the doctor. He's got an opiate problem. It's a known fact. And they gave him patches and he died.
Disturbingly, the number of deaths in Australia has jumped by nearly 2,000%. And even GPs now admit we have a national disaster on our hands. How would you describe the situation in Australia right now?
It is a disaster. We need to be quite clear here that the use of fentanyl in the community has gotten out of control. So it's time for us as medical practitioners to take action.
Just how dangerous is fentanyl?
It kills people. It killed my son. It kills people all the time. He was just such a gorgeous boy. He was one of those boys that everybody just loved. Everyone wanted to have him over to their house. He had, like, everyone was his friend.
Little heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Sandra McGivern's little boy Angus grew into a big, strong and talented rugby player. At 16, the opportunity of a lifetime presented itself. A scholarship to play gridiron in the United States.
So he came home and said, I'm going to America, I reckon I can do this.
It's a brutal sport, and injuries took a toll on Angus. So, to help with back pain, he was prescribed heavy painkillers.
Because it was prescription drugs, I don't know why. I really thought that it was going to be okay.
But things weren't okay. An opioid dependency quickly developed. So Sandra brought Angus home to the Gold Coast and put him into rehab. Of all places, tragically, that's where he discovered fentanyl, a painkiller 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine, but it's readily handed out by Australian doctors.
When he came out, he went straight to a doctor. Because he had the back injuries, he knew exactly what to say.
So by going to rehab, by trying to help him get clean, he actually learnt
Totally.
how to become an even worse drug addict.
Exactly.
You can't win.
I know, it's just a slippery slope.
So it was literally happening. Sandra's life was turned on its head. Her son was doctor shopping and getting his hands on fentanyl with ease, and she was regularly finding it stashed throughout their house.
And then I looked up and I saw fingerprints.
You can still see them there.
Yeah.
And he's gone
So
up
I
there.
pushed it up and I got my phone and I turned it on and I sort of videoed around the roof because I couldn't see. And then I looked at it and I thought, oh my God. And here I found this stash with 5 different boxes of fentanyl from 5 different doctors.
I was going to say it was going on under your own roof. It was in your own roof. but-
Absolutely. So I took photographs of everything that I found. Nearly every morning that Angus and I lived together, I would come out in the morning, and if he was facing a different direction, I would immediately go over and feel his pulse, because my greatest dread was that he would fall asleep and not wake up again.
So every morning your first thought almost
Totally.
was, has he overdosed this morning? Awful way to live your life.
Shocking. I was such a mess, and he was on such a massive dose of it that it was causing, like, his eyes would flicker. I'd be talking to him and his eyes would start rolling back in his head. So, I was constantly worried that he was going to end up a vegetable or in a coma.
By last year, Angus's doctor shopping was completely out of hand and all too easy. In just 3 months, he visited 13 different doctors who prescribed him a lethal 65 fentanyl patches. By September, Sandra's worst fears were realised. When she was at work one morning and couldn't get on to Angus, she sent a friend around to check on him.
He called and he said, I'm sorry, he's gone. I didn't think he'd die, truly, because there's no way in the world he wanted to die. To tell you the truth, I don't know if I really even now believe he's dead. Some days I miss him so much that it's agonising.
I mean, let's put this simply. If it wasn't so easy to go doctor shopping for fentanyl, would Angus still be here today?
Oh, absolutely.
We've come to the Gold Coast to investigate just how easy it is to go doctor shopping.
So they're turned on.
They're not glasses, that's a camera ready to roll.
It's a camera. It's a camera, sound. Is it possible to see a doctor? Sure. As soon as possible.
Have you been here before?
I don't think I have, no.
Simon Stoddart wants to show just how simple it is, visiting 5 clinics asking for fentanyl.
Have you been here before?
For reasons of ethics, he pays for the doctor's visit himself rather than using Medicare, and didn't even have to show his ID, such are the lax standards.
I hurt my back in a motorbike accident a few years ago.
The first doctor is more than happy to help Simon get the drug.
When I was in Adelaide, the doctor gave me, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
You've got to find the right one.
It was a patch.
Yep.
I don't know what it was called, so with an F.
You're talking fentanyl.
Fentanyl, that's it.
Just minutes after sitting down, the doctor is printing the script.
And there's a fentanyl patch.
Thank you.
Doctor number 2, and same story. No ID required,
Yeah.
Thank you.
but still a script for opioids is handed over for Simon's invented back pain. It just gets easier and easier. Doctor number 3 talks openly about the fact that other patients of his have abused fentanyl.
I actually had a patient back in rehab who melted his fentanyl patch and injected it.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
But that still doesn't stop him from prescribing the deadly drug again.
Okay, so there's 3 patches. Each patch will last 3 days.
The next doctor makes it 4 from 4.
Alright, looks like you've got some back pain.
handing over the fentanyl script after a consultation that lasts less than 5 minutes.
All right. You're very, very welcome.
I mean, it's pretty easy in general, but that was the easiest by a long way. Straight in, straight out.
Australia's rapidly growing fentanyl problem is starting to follow the American path, where opioid addictions have been declared a national emergency. Last year alone, more than 64,000 people in the US died from opioid overdoses. Pop superstar Prince is among the victims to have lost his life at the hands of fentanyl, and more recently, Demi Lovato also overdosed. The crisis is so serious, President Trump is now pushing for the toughest penalty of all for anyone who sells the drug on the black market.
If we don't get tough on the drug dealers, we're wasting our time. Just remember that. We're wasting our time. And that toughness includes the death penalty.
Here in Australia, there's been a huge increase in the number of opioid-related deaths as well. The latest figures show more than 1,000 people overdosed and died in the space of just 12 months. So many of those addicts start out simply seeking medical treatment for basic injuries or ailments, but quickly they're hooked and they end up trying to feed their habit by doctor shopping or getting a hit somewhere on the black market.
When you get desperate for the drugs, you have to start, hanging around in the wrong circles to be able to buy them. And that was part of what he hated. And that's when he used to say, I do terrible things when I'm desperate for drugs, Mum. I go terrible places. I would never want you to see where I have been.
Coming up, saving lives.
It can just be your son or your husband or your brother.
A mum's campaign to stop doctors giving out fentanyl.
You've really hit a chord here.
Something has to be done.
But is the fight already lost?
Now we have the problem that we can't rein the prescribing in.
Why can't you rein it in?
That's next on 60 Minutes. Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.